ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the YouTube channel and the series where I take you to every track I've ever been to in my lifetime. This is episode 2 of Track Chasing. To start off today's episode, we're going northeast of Houston, Texas, to the city of Cleveland and the 105 Speedway. A 1/4 mile symmetrical oval has seen vast improvements with the new management here in the past couple seasons. And although the track's been around nearly my entire lifetime, I actually did not visit this track for the first time until 2019 when I moved back to Houston after being in the Midwest for a couple of years. Weekly programs consist of stock cars, modifieds, micro sprints, mini stocks, and a rotating selection of special classes, sprint cars, big block modifieds, and even late models. On one occasion, I had the pleasure of being on the mic for an evening at this facility. My last visit to the track was in February this year, wrenching on my buddy Joey's factory stock car. Now, this track does run every Saturday night, March through October, and it's the home of the Texas Grand every November. Check them out on Facebook. Throwing it back a few years and about 40 miles south of Houston, back when I had hair on my head and not my chin, back in the junior dragster divisions at Angleton Raceway. Really neat little 8th mile racetrack out in the middle of a soybean field. I only had 3 opportunities to visit the Angleton Raceway, twice as a racer and once as a spectator. Raced one night with a broken wrist and went out in the semifinals to the eventual winner, my younger brother Austin. Unfortunately, this track closed its doors following the 2010 racing season, but I'll have more on that in a future Ghost Tracks video. Throwing it back to the north side of Houston, up in Willis, Texas, off I-45, used to be the Gator Motorplex, a 1/4 mile red clay dirt oval. Ran stock cars, modifieds, and sprint cars as a weekly division. I made 3 trips up there. One time to see the ASCS Gulf South Region sprint cars. Once to see a buddy of mine race an EMSA2 micro sprint. And my final trip in 2016 just happened to be passing through. The facility was very minimal, but had a really cool terrace outside turns 3 and 4 for spectators to watch the races, as well as a concrete grandstand down the front straightaway, and gave great views of the racing action. Unfortunately, this is another track that will be featured in a Ghost Tracks video in the future, as this track did close its doors following the 2017 season. In its final year, it was reconfigured and even hosted a World of Outlaws sprint car event in February of that year. Today, the speedway has been completely demolished and nothing remains. Keeping with the theme of closed racetracks in the Houston area, out in Beaumont to the east of town was the Golden Triangle Raceway Park, a paperclip shaped 3/8 mile oval. Now, this is a track I only visited one time as a photographer for a Southern United Sprints event, along with the now 600 Arklatex region micro sprint cars. But this track was another one that ran stock cars and modifieds on a weekly basis. I've heard many stories from the local racers about the ASCS Gulf South Region sprint car races here, as well as the track being part of the World of Outlaws Texas Two-Step, where they would race at this track on Friday night and Houston Raceway Park on Saturday night every March. Unfortunately, this is another track that will be in a Ghost Tracks video, as this track did close its doors for good following the 2019 season. The property has since been sold and redeveloped. And bringing us to the last track no longer in existence in this video, we're going to go over to Highlands, Texas, a mere 15 miles from my childhood home, to the Battleground Speedway. Had a 3/8 mile mid-banked clay oval and a 1/6 mile micro sprint oval on the infield, both of which I had seen races on. This track had a rocky history when I was younger, open and closed several times, but when I got my driver's license, any weekend that I was not racing myself, I usually spent here at the Battleground Speedway, because Houston Raceway Park was not running a weekly program. This track hosted about every prominent series you can have on dirt, including the Texas Grand and the Lone Star 600 in 2016. Unfortunately, the track shut its doors for good following the 2018 season. On to a couple tracks still in operation. This one in Lone Star 600 promoter Brad Dixon's backyard. This is the Riverside Raceway kart track. A 1/10 mile D-shaped oval, corners of varying banks. Makes for a very fun and very wild flat kart track. My claim to fame at this track is leading the first ever lap in open flat kart competition in a heat race at the Grand Opener. And my buddy Joey has won a feature win here. And it's definitely a must-visit stop every time I'm back in the Houston area and they've got a race on the schedule. Check them out on Facebook, the Riverside Raceway Kart Track. And for the final track in today's video, I'm going to take you over to the Gulf Coast Speedway in Alvin, Texas, a 1/5 mile dirt oval for micro sprints and karts. This track could have seriously altered the course of my racing career had I known it existed when I was younger. We grew up going to Houston Raceway Park and junior drag racing. Had we been coming here instead, probably would have ended up in junior sprints or their Mighty Kart division, moving our way into junior sprints and into the micro divisions. I didn't actually visit this track for the first time until 2021, even though I talked Joey into buying a micro sprint and going racing out there without knowing anything about the place. We'll end this video today with Joey's favorite video of him clearing the catch fence out here at Gulf Coast Speedway. Gulf Coast Speedway does run most Saturday nights throughout the season. Be sure to check them out online. That is going to bring us to the end of our video. If you like what you see, leave a like, subscribe. If you've got a story from one of the tracks I've mentioned here, please feel free to share it in the comments. Thank you for watching. My name is Andrew Thornton, and I'll see you at the races.